In this video, I'll be walking you through the top 10 cloud computing trends to watch out for in 2025. The cloud industry is evolving faster than ever. Over the past decade, we've witnessed incredible growth, and I'm confident that 2025 will be the most transformative year. According to JP Morgan, investments in data centers have surged since ChatGPT's launch in 2022 as companies move to the cloud and integrate AI into their operations. From startups to Fortune 500 companies, cloud adoption continues to surge, driving innovation, efficiency, and scalability across industries. But what does this mean for you? Whether you're a tech enthusiast, a professional looking to upskill, or someone considering a career in cloud computing, these trends are important. The demand for cloud skills is still sky high, even after the economic challenges and layoffs we've seen in some sectors. So, without wasting any time, let's dive right in. So, the very first trend that we'll be diving into is AI as a service. In 2025, AI as a service is going to be one of the coolest trends in technology. But what's AI as a service? So basically, it's a way to use artificial intelligence tools through the cloud where you don't need to build complicated systems yourself. Alright, so AI as a service basically simplifies the process of working with AI and cloud technologies. So instead of spending hours figuring out the right tools or learning every technical detail, developers and businesses can now rely on AI powered platforms to guide them. Alright, so as you guys can see in this article, generative artificial intelligence uses massive amounts of energy for computation and data storage and millions of gallons of water to cool the equipment at data centers. Now, AI as a service basically solves this by centralizing the AI operations in highly efficient and optimized cloud data centers, right? So, this is basically a vector symbolizing the centralized AI operations. So, if you're a business owner or working in a company, AI as a service is perfect for making tasks easier through automation. Alright, you can take AI models from big names like OpenAI or Microsoft and customize them to solve your unique problems by building custom AI solutions right on top of the pre existing models. So, whether it's automating customer support or analyzing tons of data, these tools save time, reduce the costs, and deliver smarter solutions. Alright. So, how can you get started with AI as a service? So, first is exploring popular platforms. Now, you need to dive into tools like OpenAI Studio, Google Cloud, or AWS AI. Right. So, most of them have tutorials and free trials to help you learn as well. Next is solving real problems. Now, you need to start by customizing the existing AI models to tackle challenges specific to your business or project. Right. So, say for example, automating a repetitive task or building chatbots for customer support. Alright, so you need to start small but get started somewhere. Then the third step is keep learning. Now, AI and cloud computing are growing fast. So, you need to stay updated with the new features and tools to keep your skills sharp. Moving on to the next trend, hybrid and multi-cloud. Now, hybrid and multi-cloud is all about using multiple cloud platforms or combining private and public clouds to get the best of both worlds. Alright, so this is basically what a hybrid cloud looks like, where you have both public cloud as well as private cloud and the traditional infrastructure in your organization as well. So you combine all these infrastructures and make the best use out of it. Alright, and here's a basic difference between cloud, a hybrid cloud, and a multi cloud. So, a basic cloud basically uses SaaS, software as a service application, public cloud for test dev, or a specific use case. Whereas hybrid cloud runs the same application seamlessly on premises and in a public cloud. Whereas multi cloud has the ability to use the most appropriate cloud, whether on premise or public, for each application. Alright, so this is basically what hybrid and multi cloud means. Now, why is hybrid and multi-cloud a big deal, or why is it going to be a trend in 2025? So, if you're running a business and want the flexibility to choose the best tools for different tasks, hybrid and multi-cloud offer exactly that. So, it's going to give businesses the freedom to use one provider's cloud for secure data storage and another for advanced AI tools or scalability. Now, this approach is gaining popularity mainly because it solves real world challenges like avoiding lock in. Now, what this means is you're not stuck with one provider. You can switch if you find another offer that has better services. All right. Next is boosting performance. Now, by distributing the workloads, businesses can ensure faster and more reliable performance. All right. Then comes improved security. Now, sensitive data can be kept on a private cloud, while less critical tasks can run on a public cloud. So, you have more security for your sensitive data while managing your data in a very efficient manner. So, with these benefits, businesses can save money, enhance efficiency, and stay competitive in a fast changing market. Now, how can you keep up with hybrid and multi cloud? So, if you're a student, a developer, or a business owner, you need to explore multiple clouds. Now, what does that mean? You need to familiarize yourself with top cloud platforms like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. So, understanding these strengths will eventually help you combine them effectively. All right. And the next step is focus on the integration skills. Now, hybrid and multi cloud requires seamless integration between platforms. So, you need to learn about tools like Kubernetes and Terraform that simplify this process of integration. All right. Moving on to our third trend in cloud computing, which is simplified cloud computing. Now, simplified cloud computing is all about making cloud technologies easier to use for everyone, whether you're a developer, you're a business owner, or just starting in tech. All right. So, why is this a trend? So, cloud computing used to be complex, right? You would require deep technical expertise to set up and manage the systems. But now, cloud providers like AWS, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure are focusing on user friendly tools that simplify everything. So, with features like pre configured setups, drag and drop interfaces, and AI powered recommendations, business can now quickly adopt cloud solutions without needing large IT teams. Alright, so now this is going to make it easier for startups, small businesses, or even individuals to harness the power of the cloud for tasks like app development, data storage, and automation. Alright, now how can you keep up with it? You need to build small projects. So you need to use cloud tools to create simple applications. It could be a personal website or even a small database. Right? You need to start small, but you need to start somewhere. So, simplified cloud computing is basically breaking down barriers, making it possible for anyone to build and innovate. So, if you've ever thought about exploring the cloud, now's the perfect time to jump in. Moving on to the fourth trend, which is edge computing. Now, edge computing means processing data closer to where it's being created. So, like on a device or maybe a nearby server, instead of sending it all on the way to a central cloud. So as you can see over here, this is our central cloud. Rather than sending all our data to the central cloud, we send it to the nearby servers or maybe some device which is closer compared to the central server. Alright, so this is basically what edge computing means. Now, why is this a trend? So, as technology is growing, devices like smart cameras, sensors, or even self driving cars are generating tons of data every second. Now, sending all this data to the cloud for processing can cause delays. Now, this is a problem for tasks that need split second decisions or maybe real time processing, like avoiding an obstacle in autonomous vehicles, which is our self driving car. Alright, now edge computing can solve all this by bringing computing power closer to the action. Now, it's going to make processes faster, it's going to reduce the internet bandwidth, and it is going to improve the reliability. So, industries like healthcare, gaming, and IoT are using it to create real time experiences. Now, this makes edge computing a must have technology. Now, how can you keep up with edge computing? So, in order to learn how edge computing works and how it is different from traditional cloud computing, you need to explore real world applications. So, you need to look into how industries like, say, smart cities, self driving cars, or say autonomous vehicles and healthcare are using edge computing to solve problems. The next step would be to get hands on experience. Now, you need to experiment with tools like AWS IoT, Greengrass, Azure IoT Edge, or Google Cloud IoT. Now, many of these platforms are going to offer free trials to help you practice. So, edge computing is all about speed, efficiency, and innovation, and it's going to reshape the way we think about cloud technology altogether. Alright, so moving on to our next trend, which is serverless computing. Now, why is serverless computing going to be a trend in 2025? So, the main reason is serverless computing is going to simplify everything. Developers won't have to worry about setting up or maintaining the servers, which is a big deal, right? They only need to pay for the actual time the code runs rather than the entire storage. Now, this is going to make it cost effective as well as efficient. And secondly, it's going to be perfect for businesses and startups that need to scale quickly. So, whether it's processing large data sets, running a website, or handling high traffic, serverless architecture is going to automatically scale to meet the demand, whether it's going to be scale up or scale down, right? So, it's going to be fast, flexible, and ideal for today's dynamic tech environment. Now, how can you get started with serverless computing? So, the first step is to experiment with projects. You need to try and create simple serverless applications. It could be a real time chatbot or a basic file uploader, right? It's all up to you. This is going to help you understand how serverless computing works in real life. The next important thing to do would be focus on the integration. You need to learn how to connect serverless functions with other cloud services such as databases or APIs. Alright, so this is going to give you a good head start in the serverless computing world. Moving on to the next trend, DevSecOps. Now, DevSecOps is basically a combination of development, security, and operations. Alright. So this is going to ensure that security is baked into every step of software development rather than being added at the end. Alright. So basically, with cyber attacks on the rise, businesses are going to need faster, more reliable ways to secure their applications. DevSecOps is going to make security an integral part of the workflow, which basically helps the teams to identify and fix vulnerabilities very easily. This is going to save time, reduce the risk, as well as create safer software. So, as companies move to the cloud, DevSecOps is going to become a must have approach. DevSecOps basically supports automated tools to handle security checks, making it easier to manage complex cloud environments without slowing down the development. Now, how can you keep up with DevSecOps? So, the first step would be to practice the security tools. So, you need to familiarize yourself with tools like Jenkins, Dockers, Kubernetes, and security scanners like Snike or Aqua, right? Next, what you need to do is focus on the automation. You need to learn how to automate security checks such as vulnerability scanning and compliance testing. Alright. Moving on to the seventh trend, which is IoT. Basically means Internet of Things. Now, you guys must already know that this is basically transforming the way we interact with technology today. But what exactly is IoT? So it's basically a network of everyday devices. It could be smart home gadgets, fitness trackers, and industrial sensors. Right? These are connected to the internet. They share data to make our lives easier and more efficient. Now, why is IoT a trend? IoT is basically everywhere. Smart homes can adjust lighting and temperature automatically, while industries use IoT sensors to track the equipment performance and prevent breakdowns. Right? So IoT is basically being used everywhere. Now, the magic basically happens in the cloud, where all the data from these devices is stored, analyzed, and turned into useful insights. So, as more devices get connected, the need for cloud based IoT solutions is going to grow. This is driving innovation in healthcare, agriculture, transportation, and beyond. It's not just about convenience, it's basically about creating systems that save time, reduce the cost, and improve efficiency across the board. Now, how can you keep up with IoT? So you need to experiment with IoT devices. You need to get hands-on with smart devices like Raspberry Pi or Arduino to build your own IoT projects. The next thing would be to learn cloud integration. You need to explore how IoT devices send and process the data using cloud platforms like AWS IoT, Google Cloud IoT, or Azure IoT Hub. Alright? Moving on to the eighth trend, which is disaster recovery. So, disaster recovery or DR is all about making sure that businesses can quickly recover their data and system after any unexpected event like a cyber attack or a power outage or maybe a natural disaster, right? So, when any of these unexpected events happen, there is a huge possibility that there is a huge data loss. So, disaster recovery is all about that aspect, that how can businesses quickly recover their data, right? So, as businesses rely more and more on technology, down the line, there can be a huge problem regarding data that can lead to, say, loss of revenue, unhappy customers, or even legal issues, right? So, disaster recovery solutions in the cloud can be a complete game changer. Disaster recovery basically is going to let companies back up and restore their data faster and more reliably than traditional methods. So, cloud based disaster recovery is basically going to be flexible and cost effective. So, companies do not really need to pay for the entire setup. They only need to pay for what they need, what they use, and they can avoid expensive hardware and they can scale up or down as required. So, with threats like ransomware and extreme weather on the rise, having a strong disaster recovery is not going to be an option in the future. It's going to be an essential need, right? So, in order to keep up with this trend, you need to explore tools. You need to get hands on experience with cloud based disaster recovery services like AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery, Azure Site Recovery, or Google Cloud Backup. Now, many of these sites are going to have free trials and tutorials to let you get a hang of it. Then you need to practice planning. You need to learn how to create disaster recovery strategies. You need to test the backup system and you need to ensure everything works smoothly during an emergency. All right. So, moving on to the ninth trend, which is quantum computing. Now, regular computers basically process the information in something known as bits, which is nothing but 0 and 1. But quantum computers use something known as quantum bits, also known as qubits. Now, compared to bits, these qubits solve incredibly complex problems much faster. So, quantum computing is all about unlocking the possibilities that were impossible before. Quantum computing can help solve problems in seconds that would take the traditional computers even years to handle. Right, so industries like healthcare, finance, logistics, and AI research are exploring quantum computing for things like drug discovery, risk modeling, and optimizing the supply chains. Now, these are some of the tasks that require heavy computing, right? So, quantum computing can be really helpful in these particular areas. Now, cloud providers like IBM, Google, Microsoft are making quantum computing more accessible. So you do not need to spend multi-million dollar on the quantum machines. Rather, you just need to log into the cloud and start experimenting with the quantum tools. Right? So it's become that easy. Now, in order to keep up with this trend, you need to experiment on the cloud platforms. So you need to try quantum cloud services like IBM Quantum Experience or Azure Quantum. Now, these tools are going to let you run real quantum programs or even simulations for absolutely free, right? So, these platforms can be a great way to get started or to even explore the quantum computing options. The next would be to build your knowledge. So, you need to explore programming languages like Qiskit for IBM Quantum or learn how quantum algorithms work. All right. So, moving on to the last trend for this particular video, which is everything as a service. Now, everything as a service is also denoted by XaaS, where X is basically anything that could be a service. It could be software, it could be infrastructure, it could be platform, it could be AI, right? So, AAS basically represents as a service, where X could be any factor that we are representing as a service. All right. So, everything as a service is basically a model where nearly every tool, service, or resource you need, it could be software, infrastructure, even platforms, that can be accessed on demand through the cloud, right? So, on demand basically means that you do not need to pay for the entire thing upfront. Rather, you can pay as you use the service, right? So, you do not need to buy and maintain the expensive hardware or software. You simply pay for what you use. So, with the help of everything as a service, businesses can now scale their operations up or down without worrying about the big upfront cost, right? So traditionally, what would happen if any business is using some kind of hardware, say it could be some storage. Now, as the demand increases, as the data increases, the business would require to spend more on the hardware, right, to store more data. So whether it's accessing computing power or specialized software, secure storage, everything is just a click away. Now, how do you keep up with this trend? So, you need to experiment with tools. You need to try popular platforms like AWS, Google Workspace, or Microsoft 365. Now, many of these have free trials, as we've already discussed. So, you do not need to be worried about how to use the platform. Rather, you can just look up the free trial or the tutorial to help you get started. Then, what you need to do is focus on the value. So, you need to look for ways to use everything as a service in your projects or your workplace. So, for example, you use software as a service tool for collaboration, or you can use infrastructure as a service to host the applications without needing additional servers, right? So, this was all for this video. These were the 10 trends that we discussed. I hope you guys were able to get some sort of insight out of this video. If you guys liked it, do hit the like button. Thank you and see you in the next video.